new every week, man. No one wants to be with me. It's sad. It's very sad.
Oh, okay. You look like you're having some fun this weekend, by the way, Mr. High school reunion, whatever reunion it was.
Yeah, that was a high school reunion. That was pretty. Who knew people my age would do that? I left at around 3 a.m.
And you were 100% responsible. You did everything, that.
Drove real fast. When I left at 3 a.m. No, it was a good time though. It was crazy. Everyone's gotten swollen.
Everybody's gotten swollen. All right, so the message here: don't get old, everybody. So
don't do it.
There's your Bernieism for the day.
Stay away from it.
There's your Bernie's beat for the day.
Bernie's beats for the day.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So what are we doing? Well, we are having some fun tonight. We got a bunch to cover. We have both the Pro Shootout Championship and the Superhole taking place this weekend. We're going to talk all about that. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll preview the players competing, as well as the Superhole and celebrities going head to head. It's going to be a lot of fun. That'll be in the second half of the show, so make sure you stick around for that. But the first half of the show, we're going to have some fun with teams. So we got a bunch of teams, rosters to go through. 2 CBS Sports Network broadcasts going to be happening in just over 2 weeks, Bernie, at the 2023 ACL Cornhole Mania. So the next national of the year is already upon us.
It's crazy.
And we're going to have 4 teams going to be competing live on television. So we are going to have our first broadcast of that weekend is going to be the Las Vegas High Rollers taking on the Pennsylvania Ringers. So we have in the green room, we have Tanner Halbert and Matthew Creekkiller. They're going to come on the show, and they're going to talk a little bit through their rosters and their lineups and what went into the decision-making there. And then a little bit later, we're going to bring on Ty Lopez from the Arizona Burn and Jake Trzynski from the New England Woodchucks to talk through their matchup ahead of the Sunday broadcast. That'll be May 21st, and you're all in Erie, Pennsylvania. So we're talking teams, we're talking shootout, we're talking Superhole. Bernie, you're going to need a nap after tonight's episode.
Definitely good. It's funny. I think we're already starting to see, like looking through the lineups already, how the managers and captains are trying to manipulate, what games certain people are playing. Like it's not just here's my 1 through 7, match them up. You can tell they're trying to put some people down in the order, trying to steal some games. I'm interested to see what the thought processes were for some of these folks.
Oh yeah, it's going to be fun. There's a couple that I have questions loaded up because I looked at the roster and I was like, that don't make no sense. So we'll talk through them. It's going to be a lot of fun. So it's going to be a great time this evening. So Bernie, without further ado, you ready to start talking some teams?
Yes, sir. Let's do this.
All right, let's do it. So first up, let's talk a little bit through and show the audience at home the first lineup for the 2023 ACL Cornhole Mania, and that is going to be the matchup that's going to take place Friday night. It actually will air on TV on Saturday, so you have to be a little bit more patient between the Las Vegas High Rollers and the Pennsylvania Ringers. So as you see the lineups in front of you, quickly just going through these. Game 1, the High Rollers will put up Tanner Halbert and Cody Henderson against Jacob Foreman and Matthew Creekkiller. So right out of the gate, we're going to get a heavyweight matchup, and we're going to have 2 of the people that we're going to be on the show tonight. Maybe they'll start a little smack talk. Maybe they'll, I know if anybody's ready for smack talk, it's Matthew Creekkiller. I can't get that guy to shut up normally.
Wow.
Bernie, as you look through these, what stands out to you?
First off, match 1, Tanner and Cody, whose bags are they playing? I can't believe I'm the bad guy here in this situation, but obviously 2 guys that have extreme talent, they could probably play with, whatever type of bag you put in their hand, but it just seems like 2 completely different styles that someone's going to have to kind of give a little bit there. Am I wrong in that?
Yeah, well, certainly they're not usually throwing the same type of bag. That is for damn sure. Looking down Game 3, the Pennsylvania Ringers, you just want to put Justin Burton Jr. and Devin Harbaugh on the same team? Is that illegal? That legal, Bernie?
A, is it legal? And B, we're going to have to get Matthew's thoughts on this, because if you split those guys, you've got 2 more really good teams. Now you've got one super team that you put an immense amount of pressure on, essentially. Like if you lose, like when you put them together, you're basically saying we have to win that match.
Yeah,
right?
and worth noting, this was a snake. So one thing we'll talk about with Tanner and Matthew as we go through, the first team to go up was Foreman and Creek Killer. So it's snakes the other way. So based on that snake, Justin Burton Jr. and Devin Harbaugh were not matched against someone. They were placed as a team, which means the High Rollers took Hunter Thorne and Kobe Costanza and said, I want to play them against Harbaugh and Burton Jr. So that's a little bit of an interesting dynamic there, right? Hunter Thorne been on a tear.
Yeah.
Maybe the thought process is try to steal a win here. But
I like it. I mean, don't you? I mean, like seriously, when you've got JBJ and Devin, you put an unbelievably good team with Hunter and Kobe there. Don't you feel like they're going in with house money? Since we're doing, Vegas High Rollers, we'll do a little pun there. But don't you feel as well as Hunter's been playing, Kobe Costanza, very solid player. It wouldn't shock people if they won that match. I mean, obviously Justin and Devin would be prohibitive favorites, but that's a scary matchup if I'm the Pennsylvania Ringers. Because
the last one you have, all right, Bernie, here's where we talk about these teams, about being able to play with people that have chemistry. What if I told you, Bernie, that on one of these teams, there are a pair of players that played pro doubles together last season, played pro doubles together this season. In both times, they're either in the top 10 or finished in the top 10, and they aren't playing together. Tanner Halber and Eric Zockline.
Yeah.
What is going on? They're not paired up together. There was a choice to split those two up onto two separate teams.
Maybe the thought process, and Tanner will fill us in on it, maybe the thought process there was, all right, we've got a great team when we're together. Maybe we can get two really, really good teams if we split up. I don't know, because that would be my thought process with JBJ and Devin on the other side. I mean, you could split those two guys up. Yes, you've got one super team, but you could have two really, really good teams if you split them up. So I'm interested to see what the thought process is there.
If only we had the captains who made that decision here and ready and able to answer our questions, Bernie. Oh, wait, we do. Oh. So without further ado, let's bring on none other than the High Rollers, Tanner Halbert, and the Ringers, Matthew Creek Killer. Welcome, gentlemen.
Gentlemen.
What's up?
Tanner doesn't know how to unmute himself, so I'm going to do it. And now he's unmuted, so now we're good to go. So we're ready. But I got to start with the main question. Tanner, I look at this roster. I'm looking at it right now. I see Tanner Halbert in game number 1, and I see Eric Zockline in game number 6.
Yep.
I need an explanation. Give me an explanation here.
We played together the first couple of matches in Texas, and it didn't go well. I didn't say it didn't go well. We just didn't win. And I said, we need to make a change, I think. And we had Cody and Jay together, and they weren't doing, they were like us. They weren't winning. Playing well, just weren't winning. So I made a decision to make a switch, and me and Cody went 1-1. We lost one game in the last, or came down to the last round, but we threw really well in both games. And then Easy and Jay, I know for sure they won one game. I want to say they won the other game, but I'm not 100% sure. But I think it worked out better for us, I thought. It didn't show in our record, but I think it worked out better for the team. So we're going to stick with it and try it again. Me and Cody played well together. So we're going to try to run it back, see what happens.
Well, looking at game 3 for me, Tanner, are you trying to steal one there? Are you trying to steal one from a super team with Hunter and Kobe there?
I mean, of course, we're trying to win every match. Of course. Sure. I worked very closely with Hunter. He's one of the co-captains. We worked very closely on making these pairings and stuff. At the National, when we did the Snakes with the other teams, like our off matches, Hunter was right there. We worked close together. He's confident in his game. I'm going to tell you, he told me him and Kobe are going to beat them. So,
wow, there's your smack talk, Trey. It may not be about that first game, but it's about that third game.
Yeah, Matthew, as we look, you're in game number 1. Okay, so obviously Devin, you couldn't be here tonight, but he was kind of. He's a captain. He's the one that ultimately makes the decisions. But I know you're working closely. Everybody's working closely together. You being put in game 1 with your normal pro partner Jacob Foreman is that just a goal of trying to set the tone, get a win out of the gate? I mean, can you kind of maybe walk us through a little bit of logic of putting you out first?
I think that's exactly what we wanted. Me and Jacob want to set the tone and get a win for our team. And honestly, our team is one win away every game from being 3-0. So I feel like we could be undefeated right now.
Yeah, and as you look, I see Justin Burton Jr. We've kind of talked about this. Justin Burton Jr. and Devin Harbaugh, like putting those two together. Like I said, are we sure that is legal? Are we sure that this is not against the law?
We just wanted to put 2 stacked players together, and it's the number 1 and number 2 player in the world right now. So you can't get much better than that.
Well, was there any thought or any conversation about that team? Because obviously you are talking number 1, number 2, 2 of the best players on the planet. If you split them up and say throw maybe a Tubby Cobb with Justin Burton Jr. or Devin Harbaugh, then you've got another great. Like it feels like you've taken one great team when you could have split that talent and created 2 very good teams. Was there any thought process there, or you were just saying to yourselves, you know what? We're guaranteeing a win right there. We're just going to guarantee ourselves a win with that duo.
I feel like we could just say that we're guaranteed a win with that game, and hopefully me and Jacob get the win too. So 2-0 already.
Yeah, I was going to say you two are playing each other, right? I mean, this is also interesting dynamic, and I think both of you kind of probably said to each other, this is a tone setter. Now, I'll go back to Tanner on this one. Kind of a similar situation I asked before. So Creekiller and Foreman go up first, right? You didn't have to put Tanner Halbert and Cody Henderson up first, right? We could have taken any number of the other games to put up there. What was the logic that went into saying, no, they put one of the top teams in the country, a team that finished top 15 last year, we're going to put arguably our 1-2 seed team right up against them?
Yeah, it's kind of the same thought process for us. We want to put another good team out there against another good team, and we want to win. We want to get that first win, secure the first win for our team. Getting that first win is a big momentum boost for the team. I feel like so. We wanted to put a good matchup out there, and I feel like me and Cody can give them a good game and hopefully come out on top and get the 1-0 start for our team.
Tanner, I like game 5 for you guys. I think that could be a sneaky good team. Alan Rawls, I think he would even admit he's playing the best cornhole of his career. And so you get him in a game 5, that could be a huge swing match. I like the positioning of that. Was there any thought process there? Like, hey, do we put him higher? Maybe we go a little bit lower and see if we can kind of, if we get that win and you put then, Easy and Jay right behind him, all of a sudden, if things are going your way, it could be done, right? It could be done by the time you get to game, through with game 6. So was there a thought process there putting Allen down in game 5?
I can't remember exactly where we fell with Allen and Tice. I can't remember if we matched them up against Kenzie and Nate, or they were matched up against Kenzie and Nate.
You put Allen and Tice up against Kenzie and Nate.
Okay, so we put them up against them. So that was, like I said, worked very closely with Hunter. I think we went back and forth between the 3 teams that were left on who we wanted to put up, and that's kind of what we agreed on. We both felt like we can get a win there. Of course, as always, we're trying to win all of them. We're trying to put our matchups where we feel like we can win all of them, and that's what everybody's trying to do. But with the teams we had left, and when we're putting our teams out, I'm looking at who they have and who they've already put out, and who they have left, looking at who I have left, and trying to make sure we're still leaving good quality people to go up against other good quality people.
All right. let's wrap things up here. Creek Killer, give me a prediction here. Fine, out of 7, best of 7 here. What's the final?
7-0 Ringers.
7-0 A sweep. An absolute sweep, he says. Tanner, final prediction.
I'm going to take 4-3 us.
4-3. Okay, so we got a blowout. Laying this smack talk down, saying
I got
over.
to give them some credit. They have a good team too, but I want us to take the 4-3 win.
There you go. From the mouths of babes, Matthew Creek Killer. 7-0 sweep.
7-0 sweep. All right, gentlemen, Matthew, Tanner, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you joining, and good luck in a couple weeks, and we'll see who takes it down. Let's see if it's the hometown Ringers or if it's going to be those from the West Coast, those high rollers coming in and sweeping it. So thank you guys.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for
Thank
having
you,
me.
boys.
All right, hey,
Look
told you
at-
Creek Killer was coming with the smack talk.
Dude, look at Game 7 if it goes there. I like Pennsylvania having Tubby Cobb there. I mean, another player playing the best corner of his career right now.
Yeah, the Ringers were there telling me that's a closer match, right? They're saying so. I think really the high rollers are saying, I just don't want to get to Game 7. I just don't want to get there. Okay, Bernie, we got to take a break. When we come back, we got another matchup to go through. Arizona Burn versus the New England Woodchucks. That's my hometown Woodchucks, right?
I know it is. I know it is.
New England sports fans are reeling from the Bruins' epic collapse last night. So they need some New England sports to come through and save them. So we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we got another match to go through. See you guys in a second. Welcome back, ACL Nation. It is Trey Ryder and Bernie Neighbors here on your favorite Monday night show. It's
Yes,
ACL
sir.
Live. I know you guys
ACL
count
Live.
seconds to see us, mostly Bernie, but I will
for
fill
sure.
in tonight. So,
Welcome to the greatness of ACL Live.
all right, we just had a great matchup, great talking with Matthew Creek Killer of the Pennsylvania Ringers and Tanner Halbert of the Las Vegas High Rollers. As you can tell, they are pumped. They are ready for their television debut coming up. It's a battle of the winless. I didn't want to mention that before I brought them on. 0-4 versus 0-3, a chance to really turn. You know, what's crazy is like the high rollers themselves were like second in PPR among the entire all of the teams, combined team PPR, and they're 0-4. Like so close. So a lot of these are about just kind of building momentum, getting some key wins. So we'll see if they can turn around. But next up, Bernie, we have the Arizona Burn versus the New England Woodchucks. Another East Coast versus West Coast matchup. Again, this one is going to be on Sunday. That's May 21st at 12:30 p.m. Eastern on CBS Sports Network. And let's roll into it. Let's just look right at the teams here, Bernie. Boom. Right out of the gate. Obviously, the Burn having a heavy flavor of Arizona-based talent. You can see that top to bottom. You see it in Moses S. Wade, Doug Zapp, Bill Hadley, Ty Lopez, even Florentino Mendoza. I mean, a lot of Arizona-based talent on the left-hand side. And I remember when we were looking through the woodchucks, right? Jimmy Humans kind of captaining that draft and drafting some players at a time that we kind of scratching our head. But then, one of those picks was Zach Shibner, and then Shibner's come out recently, Bernie, and has really put together a strong start to the season. So Jimmy's, as we expected, looking a little bit smarter than we originally thought, right? So he's put together a strong team here. But Bernie, any matchups in particular stick out to you?
I mean, speaking of Jimmy Humans, I mean, look at matchup number 6. He's basically saying we're winning 4-2, right? He's putting himself and Kyle Malone in the 6th spot. That's a must win if you're Jimmy Humans and Kyle Malone, right? You have to win that. And putting yourself in that position, you're obviously saying, I think we get to it to where it's 3-2, we go into match 6, and we close it out. I think that had to have been the thought process there. But that is a loaded squad for matchup number 6.
Yeah, well, I'll put it this way, because Jimmy Humans and Kyle Malone, I was actually listening to Jimmy talking a little bit of smack to Athena, who is the captain of the Arizona Burn a little bit. They were kind of going back and forth. And Jimmy was flat out saying, look, and this was kind of on the live feed this weekend, said, hey, I wanted to go against Ty Lopez and Jeff Reynolds because it was Christian Brown and Cameron Holland that were matched against in the Snake, Humans and Malone. So that kind of, there was an opportunity to take Ty Lopez and Jeff Reynolds and put them right up against Jimmy Humans and Kyle Malone. So I thought that was an interesting placement there. As we go early, my eyes kind of go to and draw to game number 2.
Yes.
And it's 2 like absolute titans. You have Jacob Trzynski and Derek Holland. Interesting to play against one another because their styles are so contrasting, but both very fun to watch. But they're paired with players that, for lack of a better term, sometimes I give them just question marks, right? Brandon Jones up and down, Brent Smith, a PDC player that just got promoted into the pro division. He's obviously going to be making his debut when it comes to being a pro on TV. So, what do we get here from that game number 2? That feels like a heavyweight bout to me, Bernie.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd be willing to bet, I obviously don't know, that you're going to have Derek and Jacob throwing against each other, right? So the other side of the board is where you might get the giant swings point-wise. If it plays out that way. I mean, all right, Trey, let me ask you. If you're a captain, you're in a game like that, how do you do that? Do you make sure, or I guess you can try to manipulate best you can, like who you're throwing against? Or are you just sticking with a certain side of the board you want to throw? Whether, if you're right-handed, you want to be outside in. I mean, how would you go about it as a captain making that kind of choice in a matchup like that?
I'll put it this way. I mean, most of what I see in the pro division is 9 times out of 10, I see when people win the toss, they just go stand where they want to stand, and the other pros just walk up. Very, very, very seldom do I see people say, I'm going to throw against you. And then the other team go and stand where they want to stand. Maybe that changes as we go into the future and we start looking at matchups and like my style of play matches up better to yours, and maybe that's how it goes. But overall, I think it's seldom. Now, I think in the previous game, everybody was kind of drawn to the Cobb versus Cobb matchup with the ringers and the high rollers. We didn't even mention that, Bernie, but you had Tice Cobb on one team, Tubby Con another. You got brothers going against each other, kind of not in the same game here, but Ballard and Ballard, Brennan Ballard, Corey Ballard, another interesting dynamic here. So thought that was interesting.
I like, all right, so we mentioned it, at the top. It's a little different now how they're spacing the talent. You can tell some captains, Jimmy Human's perfect example with the Woodchucks, spacing talent throughout your matches. I think some folks thought, all right, let's get to 4 right away. Let's see if we can win 1 through 4, and then we'll kind of figure it out from there. I think some captains are realizing there's going to be a weird match in there for both teams. There's going to be one that you expected to win that you're not. Both teams are going to have to deal with that. But if you can kind of space your talent throughout those 7 games, you can kind of make up for those mistakes. So let's get the captain's take on those choices. I could talk about that forever.
All right. Well, without further ado, like I said, we do have 2 guests from each of the 2 teams. Ty Lopez from the Arizona Burn, Jacob Trzynski from the New England Woodchucks. Let's go ahead and bring them on and talk to them about the matchup. So we got Jacob and Ty. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thanks for having me.
How we doing?
What's up? What's up? All right. I'm going to ask it out of the gate. And this is actually not specific to the lineups, but one thing that really intrigues me, Ty, about the Arizona Burn in particular is I think you guys have one of the most tight-knit and unique groups when it comes to the captains, the franchise players, and even your manager and Athena Delgado. You guys are like, from what I hear behind the scenes, you guys are like constantly meeting. You got all these different spreadsheets built. You guys are doing like analytics and having conversations. And even like when I set the lineups, most of the time a captain just throws up team number 1. I get a message back from Doug Zapp that said, okay, my team's going to meet and we'll get back to you. Like, I feel like it's a different type of organization. Can you speak at all to that?
Yeah, and it is. We got, with Athena and Doug on the team, we got definitely a couple of masterminds when it comes to statistics and stuff like that. So we've got a lot of communication on the team when we were starting the matchups and stuff. So kind of Doug and I and the other captains are going back and forth and making the choices together.
Yeah, and I think that's really unique and really special. It makes it interesting. So Jake, let's go back. Let's go to you, right? So when I look at these matchups, and I talked about my favorites, right? Yeah, and I said game 2, I felt like was a key because it had 2 teams that were very evenly matched. Does that make you excited, nervous, anxious to be in that game that, at least from the outside, feels like a key matchup in the entire process?
I feel pretty comfortable. I mean, we both throw the same type of bag. Brent Smith throws like a slow bag, so I mean, I'm fine with that. But we pretty much did that with like all our team. Like every team, like Eric and Sean, like they throw the same bag. Joe and Mark, they throw the same bag. Like everyone pretty much throws the same bag. Like Michael Lucas Jr., Brennan, like they throw slow. Jimmy Humans and Kyle, they can throw anything. Hoffman and Caleb Avery, they pretty much can throw anything.
So for the most part, you're saying that a lot of the matchups or the partnerships are generally geared towards
bag base. Yeah, we just want everyone to be comfortable. I mean, we know that if anyone's on a heater, they can beat anyone. So it's only 10-round games.
So no team slinkies here? This isn't team slinkies or?
No,
I was
not
looking through, Jake. I didn't see a lot of slow bag players. I mean, a lot of fast bag players.
No, I'm not saying our whole team is slow bag players. I'm just saying everyone's usually like, all our teams are like compatible with like bags, I should say.
Yeah.
Jacob, let me stay right there with you. Look at match number 6. So when you put together Jimmy Humans, Kyle Malone, and you slide him in the 6th spot, were you as a team basically saying, look, we want this over game 6? That's to win 4-2. That was that there? Because, theoretically, you could actually end up losing this before you even get a Kyle Malone and a Jimmy Humans in a match. So were you just thinking to yourselves, you know what, we're going to be able to hold serve at, we want to end it right there. We're going to have it to the point where we're not even thinking about game 7. We're ending it in game 6, and that's why we've got Jimmy and Kyle in that slot. Was that the thought?
Yeah, considerably. Everyone's going to be a little bit nervous on TV. I can see that. I think it's definitely going to be more of like a 50-50 thing than anything, but.
Ty, going over to you, one thing I do find interesting, right, when I look at game 6 is that in game 6, Jimmy Humans and Kyle Malone were put up by the Woodchucks, okay? You then had 2 choices. You could put up a Christian Brown rookie with Cameron Holland, no broadcast experience, or you could have tried to match, a little bit and say Ty Lopez, lots of experience, Jeff Reynolds, lots of experience. To me, it felt, you correct me if I'm wrong here, it felt like it was, okay, maybe I'm okay giving that one, or maybe putting up a team that is more of an underdog role that I'm trying to maybe steal a win by going up and being an underdog win, and then guaranteeing myself a last victory with game number 7. Was that any part of the logic? Was there any thought there? And if not, what was the logic to hold you and Jeff Reynolds for that game 7?
I think from when Doug and I were communicating back and forth, starting around game 5, I was kind of getting the itch. I wanted to play. I didn't want to say who I wanted to play against, but I wanted to get out there and be ready to play in the middle of the pack somewhere, But it made sense game 5 to put up Tino and Steve, and so kind of the next couple rounds, the TV game would have been Jimmy and Kyle versus Jeff and I kind of pushed for it, but going with the whole team overall thing, they want kind of let's put Jeff and I to finish that game if it comes down to a game 7.
Ty, as I look through your roster, it's no surprise this team, the Arizona Burn, has got a ton of Arizona players. Was that intentional to try to build a team that really felt like it represented the region? Or was it more based on that these people are used to throwing with each other, they have good chemistry? Or are you really trying to build a regional Arizona team?
We weren't intentionally trying to build an Arizona team. We definitely wanted to pick up a few of them that we knew. But then we also knew that there was a few that were going to kind of sit around or two. So throughout the draft, it helped us a few times, but then we waited on a few, and it kind of bit us on a few of them as well. So,
well, I got a question for both of you guys. Actually, the word chemistry it's going to be brought up all the time now that we're talking about teams. How important is bag chemistry when you're selecting a squad, and B, if you get beyond bag chemistry, how much is just having chemistry? People people that you're super familiar with, and having them on a squad. Like, all right, so they talk about it in other sports. You want to have good locker room guys, right? Was that ever part of the process when you were getting deep into your selection, deep in the rounds of the draft? We need good locker room players. We know at a certain level everyone's kind of the same. It's a coin flip in a game. We want good locker room chemistry, if you will. Was that part of the thought process at all for you guys?
I'd say on my end, I'd say yes. For the majority, yes, 1,000%.
We were going with that as well. Chemistry was a big part of ours. Team chemistry overall, and then kind of the compatibility of the players, bag selection, and their mental games and stuff like that.
I feel like bag selection is like huge with like everyone. I mean, obviously, like there's so many people that can just pick up a bag and just put it in the hole, but like if you're throwing a bag you're comfortable with, I'm sure like you're gonna be a lot more better than with something else.
Well, to wrap it up, we got Tony Smith in comments saying that Trzynski guy sucks. So knowing what we know now, Trzynski, let's get a prediction. Let's out of 7, a 7-game prediction here between this matchup. How many do the Woodchucks win?
I'm gonna say the same thing as Tanner, probably 4-3.
4-3, Trzynski. Ty Lopez, Arizona Burn, out of 7. How many you guys winning?
I'd like for it to come down to game 7, but if I didn't play a game that meant anything with the win, I'm good with that as well. So I'm going to go 5-2.
5-2. Wow, there it is.
I don't need to play a game that matters, he says. He says
I'd like to.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you joining. Good luck in a couple weeks. It's going to be a great matchup. Again, New England Woodchucks, Arizona Burns, Sunday, May 21st at 12:30 p.m. Eastern on CBS Sports Network. Going to be a great one. Thank you, guys.
Take care, guys.
Thank you.
All right, some good stuff there. I mean, one thing that I think is interesting too, and I didn't want to get too much into it with the questions, but I also think, like, legitimately, Trzynski's team, the Woodchucks, they play. I think the majority of those players are slow bag players, and then you look at the Burn. The majority of that team are bag runners, right? So I think you do get these two teams that have very different contrasting styles, Bernie.
I think it makes perfect sense. Now, what's the age-old saying in the fight game? Styles make fights. So if you have, one team's going to run bags, the other one's going to play a little dirtier. I think it makes for a great contrast and should make for great television, actually.
It'll be a lot of fun. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we still got to talk about the shootout happening in Miami this weekend. We still got to talk about the Superhole action happening in Miami this weekend. We will be back here on ACL Live in just a minute. Hello, Cornhole fans everywhere. Welcome back to your favorite Monday night program with Trey Ryder and Bernie Neighbors. It's ACL Live. Man, some great matchups, Bernie. I think it's going to be a fun one, right? The Burn having a strong start to the season. A little bit of a rocky start for the Woodchucks, but I think they're optimistic they can get on the right path. But like I said, contrasting styles going to be fun. Battle of the winless, turning around a season between the Ringers and the High Rollers. So it'll be some fun teams events.
I actually called on the streaming network. I had the Arizona Burns first game, I believe, against Ryan Windsor's squad, Missouri. Yeah, and they came back down 3-2, won the last two, won Game 7. So I'm wondering if you get that same type of scenario. I can't see him winning that 6th game, man. I can't see it. They've got to be up 3-2 going into 6, but I can't wait for it. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the shootout, Bernie. It's gonna be a fun one this weekend. Again, we have ACL Pro Shootout number 3 finals, and we have the Superhole number 3 as well, prelim number 3 of Superhole 4 going to be this weekend. But first, let's talk a little bit about the shootout. We got 3 games that we're going to be showing on the finals for the shootout. Women's singles final, a chance to get back to the Pro Shootout Championship. Rosie Streaker versus Lori Duell, and it's a battle in South Florida of 2 South Florida ladies, 2 ladies that are very familiar and know what it takes to make it to a Pro Shootout Championship and play at a high level. This is a fun one, Bernie, right? Because it's going to be 2 ladies going to be able to compete in their home turf. Rosie Streaker in her 3rd straight shootout final. That's good and bad all at the same time. Now, the good part is, I think, from Rosie's perspective, is that her 2 losses in the past 2 finals really haven't been on her. I mean, Cheyenne came out swinging. We thought she wasn't going to be very good. That was back when she had the carpet in her hand. We were worried. And then she absolutely killed it on the broadcast court. Then she plays Sam Finley in Topeka, Kansas, and Sam Finley throws 37 out of 40 bags in the hole. I mean, unbelievable performance. So I think Rosie should still feel pretty optimistic heading into this one.
I agree. I mean, either way, I feel like we're playing these out until Rosie gets in. I mean, essentially, right? Like we're in this part of the world now in the women's game where it's still Cheyenne but there's this battle for number 2. Obviously, Sam Finley made a statement there, but I think Rosie's kind of taken that step, and at least for right now, you could say this is the second best female player in the world. But do we get the best Rosie all the time on? And I hate saying this, but do we get the best Rosie all the time on broadcast? I'm not sure we do. And I've liked Lori the last couple of times I've seen team event and Superhole. I thought she played really well. So I think it's someone that kind of relishes that moment. I think Rosie, you got to pick her. I mean, if you had to gamble on this and someone put a gun to your head and said, all right, you have to make a decision. I mean, I think you have to go with Rosie. But all right, to your point, kind of losing 2 matches on TV, what if we get to round 8 and it's tight? What if we get to round 7, 8, and all of a sudden Lori kind of sticks her nose out in front? Does that put a lot of pressure on Rosie? And back to the Sam Finley, Rosie wasn't feeling well. And not that she would ever make an excuse, but she was feeling pretty under the weather going into that match. And, she made no excuses about it. But I did talk to her, and you could tell she was definitely not 100%. So I think it's her time. It's her turn.
Yeah. And now I will say this, though. When you look at Lori Duel, let's go back to 2021. Pro Shootout number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Rosie Streaker coming in. Rosie Streaker's coming off of, being a world champion. She's a big shot, all this. She comes in, makes it to the Final 4. She's on the broadcast. We think she's going to come through. And who comes in and upsets the entire field to get an early victory when we had we always do this in the shootouts, right? We go, well, this guy's going to win, this girl's going to win. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
right.
6. Okay, these 6 are going to win, but then the other 2 are wild cards. And then what happens early in the pro shootout season? Somebody comes in and wins when they're not supposed to, right? And then it just screws up the qualification for the rest of the summer.
Yeah.
Can Lori Duel be that person and come in, steal a win, seal her ticket into that pro shootout championship and cause kind of a domino effect as these ladies try to get the last few spots?
Why not? And like I said, the last couple of times she's been on television, I thought she's played pretty well. She's one of the athletes that tends to play better in those pressure type situations. Yes. I think she likes the spotlight. She doesn't run from it. It doesn't scare her. She wants it. The only problem with Lori sometimes is her B game is a little bit too far away from her A game. So that can happen. And in 10 rounds, if you're not quite ready in round 1, all of a sudden you can get too far down to come back. But I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't want to play her. Put it that way. If you're Rosie Streaker, I wouldn't want to play her because if you come out, you get through 3 rounds, and all of a sudden she's either up a couple on you or you're right there. Then all of a sudden you start thinking, uh-oh, I'm getting her A game. This could be trouble, right? So why not Lori Duel? Seriously, why not?
Why not? Moving on to the men's singles final, we have Tony Smith versus Jimmy Humans. Okay, and let me tell this is your fun fact. I just tweeted this before the show. Fun fact of the week. Okay, Jimmy Humans will play in the Pro Shootout Championship men's singles. Pro Shootout number 3 men's singles final this weekend on Friday. That broadcast will conclude at 10:30 p.m. local time in Miami. 7 hours later, he will be boarding a 5 a.m. flight to get on a plane to go up to Tiverton, Rhode Island to compete in Open number 12 at 9 a.m. with Mark Richards. Okay?
Wow.
Interesting pairing, right? Now, let's go back 11 months ago. Okay? Mm-hmm. We go to Everett, Washington. Jimmy Humans makes it to the finals of the men's singles shootout final against Tony Smith. And then the next day competes in open doubles with Mark Richards. The only other time that has happened, Jimmy Humans won both. He won the shootout in men's singles against Tony Smith in the finals, and then he turned around the next day and won the whole doubles tournament alongside Mark Richards.
Wow.
So that's not an omen as to who people should be betting on this weekend. I don't know what else to give you, Bernie.
It's funny going into the Open or the Shootout. We had kind of, Wally and I were talking about Tony Smith. Like, where have you been, Tony? And look, we get so recency biased at times. I mean, obviously Tony Smith's talent is an elite level. I doubt he was listening to us, but I think he felt it was time. Right? It's time. It's time for Tony Smith's A game again. I don't know, man. I think it's a really cool story that you just had with Jimmy Humans.
You don't ruin my story, Bernie.
I think it's a great story, and if I'm Tony Smith, I'm like, wow, that's weird. I don't know if I like hearing that. However, I'm liking Tony. I'm liking Tony in that matchup. I think it's just the talent is just undeniable. So I got to go with Tony on that one.
And then to go into our third and final match of the Shootout, another great story. Okay, you have Brett Guy and Matt Guy, father and son, winningest player of all time. Matt Guy pairing up with his son, dynamic duo. The only reason they went to South Dakota was because Brett got this Superhole bid, and Matt goes, let's see if we can double dip it, right? And they double dip it, and then they win the Open. They're going to be competing against Jeremy Frazier and Noah Almanza, who on Friday last week made it to the finals of the Pro Shootout in dominating fashion, and then on Saturday fell to Tier 2 doubles in the Open. So I don't know. You can figure it out because I don't have an explanation for it, okay? But I think the key storyline here is, yes, father-son, amazing, winningest player of all time, amazing. But the Shootout has only been in existence in this form for 2 seasons. And in both seasons, Brett Guy and Eric Davis have won the doubles Shootout championship. They don't lose this. They don't lose in the Shootout championship.
Yeah.
Right? They always win it. And how crazy would it be, Bernie, for the thing that ends this dynastic run in the Pro Shootout series of Davis and Guy? How funny would it be that what ends the run is because Matt and Brett pair up together, win a Shootout before they end up being able to win it together, being Davis and Guy. Just a crazy story of how it could turn out.
All those folks are under the fire umbrella, right? If you're Eric Davis, are you kind of pulling for Jeremy Frazier and Noah Almanza? Like, hey, oh man, I'm really sorry that didn't work out for you guys, but all right, Brett, let's go win again.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like,
how tough
do Matt and Brett become the favorites for the entire Shootout series for the championship if they win this weekend?
I think that's tough to say. I mean,
I know it's early. It's early.
I'd probably say no, but I mean, Ryan Wiedenfeld and Ryan Smith won the first one. They're a top 5 team in the world right now, regardless. I mean, yes, in ranking, but obviously they're just a really flippin' good team. I mean, Guy and Guy would be up there. It's not a bad team.
I think we're seeing this season what we expected to see from Matt Guy last year. I remember going into last season, I was expecting this resurgence of Matt Guy, and he was going to go back up to the best player in the world and kind of take the game over again. What he slide all the way to number 4, right? Yeah. Like it's not like he had this tremendous slide backwards, but it's almost as if he's saying, no, everybody. I've heard all these names over and over and over again. I'm still Matt Guy.
Yeah.
Right. And if it's not for Devin Harbaugh playing like he was from another universe against him in that bracket final in the first national, who was, right? So, I think Matt Guy, and now he's found a way to play really well in the shootouts. Because remember, he really wasn't his forte. Yeah, trouble. So I just think if they're able to pull this win off this weekend, that's going to be a really tough squad to beat at the end of the season.
Yeah. All right, Pro Shootout number 3 finals. You can catch those Friday night on ESPN3. So a digital premiere, ESPN3 Friday. That's this Friday, May 5th. That's at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. Now, if you don't want to watch it digital, you want to wait to see it on TV, it will premiere on television on Sunday, May 7th at 4 p.m. Eastern. So will air on TV, but it just won't premiere on TV. So that's how you can tune in. Or if you're in the Miami area, you're in South Florida, tickets now on sale. Go to iPlayCornhole.com. Right on that main page, you're going to see Pro Shootout number 3. Click on that. They got a ticket link right there. You can buy tickets, $20 general admission, or get yourself a VIP table, right? Splurge a little bit, Bernie. Come on, splurge a little bit. All right, we're going to take a break. And we also got another broadcast to talk about, right?
Wow.
Not only do we have the Shootout number 3 finals, we also have Superhole number 3. We're going to talk about the celebs and the pros competing right after this. Hello, Cornhole fans everywhere. Can't wait for Miami, Florida. Underneath an amphitheater, but it's going to be a hot one, Bernie. But I did check. How crazy is this? Tell me we didn't get a little bit lucky. Nobody else believed me on the call. All right, it is May in Miami. Okay, in Miami, okay? On Friday, 84 degrees,
I saw that.
60% humidity. Tell me that's not a win for Miami.
That's a pretty big win for Miami.
You know, I'm expecting 94 and 157% humidity here, Bernie. All right.
I got to tell you, though, 60% humidity is going to be quite the change from what it's been here recently.
Fair, Bernie.
Because it's
all relative.
It's going to be a little different because it was like 50 degrees this morning here in Atlanta. Yeah. So 84 and humid is going to be a little.
Did you enjoy all that Taylor Swift traffic?
I came in today. Sunday was kind of a rough day for me. I had intended on driving back Sunday, but yeah, it wasn't happening.
Bernie being responsible, guys. All right, so like I said, Superhole for prelim number 3 in Miami, Florida. Great lineup. So let's just go through it. On the celebrity side, we got Vinny from Jersey Shore. He is back. Jersey Shore loved the World Championship so much. Mike play. Not only did they love seeing it, but Vinny said, I think I can do better.
Yeah.
So there's been a little bit of smack talk behind the scenes between Vinny and Mike, FYI.
I think Vinny might be the better pure athlete of those two. So we might get a different kind of showing.
I would agree. And remember, if you watch the Jersey Shore season, Vinny beats Mike in the backyard.
Yeah.
Straight up. Pretty good, too. So we'll see. Vinny will be playing with Jeremy Schermerhorn. So there's your little – I don't know if you remember this, Bernie. If you watch the Jersey Shore season, Vinny starts reading Angelina's texts out loud, calling out some cornhole players.
Oh, man.
In secret, it was Jeremy Schermerhorn they were texting. So I think that's going to be a riot to see those two together and see
That's
if
going to
they
be funny.
can do together. Next up, the queen of WWE, Charlotte Flair, going to be paired up with Brett Guy, a WWE super fan. Brett behind the scenes is jacked up, Bernie. He's asking me about all these different costumes he wants to bring. He's ready to go. He's ready to go.
By the way, Charlotte Flair, another sneaky good athlete, volleyball player in high school, quite a good one actually at Providence High School in Charlotte. So a little bit more, bringing a little bit more than just her prowess on the mat. There's some athleticism there.
How could a WWE superstar be a sneaky athlete, Bernie? If I start doing well in something, I'm a sneaky athlete. The queen of WWE is not a sneaky athlete.
Maybe I'm thinking of it in hand-eye coordination terms. Maybe I'm thinking of it that way.
If she's a sneaky athlete, then I'm like a 4-year-old. Next up, we have Food God, right? A TV superstar, been on a number of different shows, food expert, TV personality. He's been seen on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, but done a bunch of other stuff. Food God going to be playing with Ashton Spees. I know Ashton is jacked up. Ashton's I think is going to be one of those great personalities for the Superhole, Bernie.
You know what's great about someone like Ashton Spees getting this opportunity? Because not everyone gets to play on TV all the time. I think this is a great opportunity when players get to experience Superhole that maybe, aren't there because they're not making a Final Four every tournament. Take advantage of it, man. Have fun with it. Enjoy the experience. I think this is going to be awesome.
Yeah. And then finally, we have Marisol Patton from the Real Housewives of Miami. Heyo, we're in Miami playing alongside Whitney Martinez. And let's say, I'm not allowed to say, but let's say the Real Housewives maybe brewing something.
Oh, my goodness. That would be awesome. Maybe they can take us out afterwards. I'm just saying. Maybe they know some good spots in mind. I'm just throwing it out there.
The Real Housewives of Miami, I promise you, know some good stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Just a little help, ladies. Just a little help.
So, that's going to be a fun one. Look, I think all four very Miami vibe, right? Very Miami vibe. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be a lot of energy. There may or may not be a championship belt involved, maybe.
Oh, my goodness. There's got to come on. Let's go. All right, seriously. I'm putting you on the spot. Who you taking?
I made this pick on Around the ACL if you guys listen tomorrow night, but I'll cheat and go ahead. I'm going to take Jeremy and Vinny. I think Vinny
I am too.
Has got some potential. I think Anthony took Charlotte and Brett. I think they'd be the kind of number two. The sneaky athlete and Charlotte Flair and all. I think she'll be ready to go. But I think Vinny and Jeremy. Look, Jeremy's having a really good season, so I think he knows how to play loose, right? Superhole
exactly.
Play loose. Jeremy only knows how to play loose. Jeremy doesn't know how to not play loose. So I think it'll be fun to watch them compete. So
yeah, I wanted to disagree with you, but I can't. I'm going Jeremy and Vinny as well.
Oh man. Yeah. So again, that is going to be this Friday on ESPN3. Again, just like the Shootout, it's going to premiere on digital on ESPN3, but it will re-air on television. So ESPN3 this Friday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. So immediately following the Shootout, rolling into Sunday, it will re-air on ESPN2. That's Sunday, May 7th at 5 p.m. Eastern. Again, right after the Shootout. And again, if you're in Miami, if you're in the South Florida area, you love Jersey Shore, you love the WWE, Real Housewives, whatever it may be, you want to come see some of these tickets now are on sale, iPlayCornhole.com. You can check those out, buy yourself some tickets and come out and see some great cornhole action. And of course, we also have a DJ from Miami, DJ who's gonna be absolutely killing it on the DJ. So excited to watch him as well. So Bernie will be there. I'll be there. All the cool kids are going to be there.
All the cool kids will be there, man.
All right. Thank you, Bernie. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Trey. It's so nice to see you again on a Monday night.
Yeah, I like doing it every now and again. So I'll let you do it every time, and I'll just come in and
save the day.
Make your day. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you tune into Shootout action, Superhole action all this weekend. Friday night, 8:30 Eastern on ESPN3. Tune into Superhole followed by the Shootout followed by the Superhole, and of course on Sunday it re-airs on ESPN2. For my partner in crime, Mr. Bernie Neighbors, coming off a very responsible weekend. This has been your host, Trey Ryder, saying so long, and we will see you in